guys, and welcome back to another episode of my Allotment Diaries. As you can hear, probably, and as you will have seen coming in, it is absolutely windy. It's more than I was anticipating. I knew it was going to get a bit bad, but it is absolutely almost stormy out here today. The good news is the greenhouse survived. It's withstood its first test. The main issue is this panel. This is the worst one. And I had to just stick some paving slabs on the bottom of it. I've ordered some new things to kind of try and help with that, hopefully, that are going to strengthen it. But we'll see. But yeah, I can't believe what a difference this greenhouse has made. I woke up this morning and I couldn't wait to get down. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I've never been to the allotment at 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's just changed how I feel about the whole thing. It's really exciting having this kind of shelter, this kind of sanctuary from the elements. It's so nice and warm in here, and it's just a pleasant place to be. I can't believe it. So yeah, with that said, let's have a look at the seedlings. Let's have a look at how they're getting on. So today is the 29th of March. We're fully into spring now. We're nearing the end of March, and I have been putting the seedlings in the greenhouse overnight. This will be their second night, and as you can see, I've got the plastic tops on them just to give an extra sort of layer of shelter, hopefully. It would be fair to say I'm slightly chancing it, having these in the greenhouse. A lot of people would recommend having these at home for a little bit longer, but my fiance was going absolutely mental having these on the windowsill, which is fair. We don't have much space at the moment, so yeah, I'll get these off. We'll have a little look. So if you watched my last seedling video, and I don't blame you if you didn't, it was very long and very rambly. You can see I've sown these modules way too deep. So this row here is the broccoli, and there are way too many seeds that were put in here, way too many seedlings that have come up. We've got the cabbage in the next one, looking okay. You know, only 2 of the modules really went off. These 2 were dead. The onions were a failure, really, let's be honest. We've got maybe 1, 2, 3 modules I could put out really as a kind of multi-sowing thing. Strawberries, nowhere to be seen in that last row, and the spearmint also nowhere to be seen. The spinach, not very successful, but there are a few plants in here that can be pricked out. The lettuces looking very sad, very leggy. Not good, but hopefully they'll bounce back. And Ian's superfood salad leaves, rubbish, absolutely rubbish. One module survived, a load of these died. I don't know if they were too wet, too cold, too warm, too dry, I don't know. I don't know what was going on with these, but we've got 1 module showing some success, so that's something. Tomatoes and chilies coming along nicely. The cayenne took about 3 weeks to actually germinate, and now they have. They're looking fine. Tomatoes doing okay. Good show from these. Starting to get some first true leaves. You'll love to see that. And this one I've got, well, there's a dead leaf in there, but I've also got some bell pepper seeds starting to show some signs of life, but they were put in just about a week ago, so could be better, could be worse. Yeah, we'll get sowing some new things. We'll get these pricked out. Hopefully they'll come back to life. If not, we'll sow some more. It's fine. So this time around, I actually had some time and I made a proper potting mix. So in here, I've got a mixture of Jack's Magic, some generic compost, and a good few handfuls of vermiculite and perlite as well. The perlite really helps with drainage, and the vermiculite was a really good conditioner. It's meant to absorb nutrients and also help with drainage. So I've got some of that in there, and I have potted up a few cabbages and some broccoli. These were the kind of strongest looking ones. It might be a little bit early to have done this. Most of them don't have true leaves, but because these modules are just so packed, I don't really trust the chances of survival in there. It's an experiment, you know, it might go well, it might not, but we'll see how these guys get on. I think the lettuces were definitely ready. So I've done some of these. They're looking a bit sad at the moment, but hopefully they'll perk up. I've done a few spinach as well, because once again they weren't looking too good, and a couple of tomatoes. These are all the Golden Sun ones. We'll see, won't we? We'll see if they like that. That's a few of those done. Let's get some new seeds in. So let's have a little look in here and have a look at what we're gonna be planting today. I've just realised. Guess what I've forgotten? Can anyone guess? What did I say was really important? If you don't have these, you don't know what you're growing. I haven't got any of these. I don't know where they are. I bet they're at home. They might be. No, they're not in the shed. Oh, for goodness sake. That's very silly. Like I said, always remember your plant labels. It's very, very important. So I'm going to start with our potting mixture. This has been pre-wetted. After my last video, I said maybe the seedlings didn't do very well because I was watering it from the top. A lot of people say that can contribute to a kind of crust forming on the top, which makes it hard for the seedlings to break through. So we've got some pre-wetted soil here. It's quite moist. Hopefully this will give us a slightly better chance. This might serve as an interesting comparison. Is a general purpose compost with some vermiculite and perlite actually better than John-Innes #1, which is, you know, a bespoke seed sowing mixture? I must say I didn't have much success with it. Whether that was my error or the compost, probably mine. But you know, it'll be interesting to see if this does better. I'm gonna just put a little channel down the middle for these. So the first one to go in today are these garlic chives. These are going to be an excellent companion plant. So these seed trays aren't ideal. It would be better if they had partitions, but what I've sort of done here is split these theoretically into 5 modules per row, and for each of those modules I'm going to sow 3 or 4 seeds in each one. And then grab a little handful of compost and just lightly scatter this over the top. Hopefully this will give better results than last time. In keeping with the garlic chives, this tray is going to be a kind of companion planty, herby one. These are a fantastic thing for attracting beneficial insects, especially ladybirds, which will come in, munch on things like aphids and black fly and things that you don't really want on your plant. Marigolds have these incredible long seed heads. They look really cool. So same again, I'm going to treat it as if this is kind of divided into 5 and just put a little in each one. You can't really have too many marigolds. So for this second to last one, I'm going to sow some basil, and then for the last one I've got some nasturtiums, which will hopefully attract some of the cabbage white butterflies, and they will go in this one.
Basil is another fantastic companion plant. In particular, it's meant to be really good for tomatoes, not only because it deters some common pests of tomato species, but it's meant to enhance the flavour. So I'm growing this mainly for my tomatoes, but it's meant to be good in the greenhouse for peppers and all kinds of other plants as well. So can't really have too much of this either.
So I'm going to start off some of these courgette seeds. A lot of these things that I'm planting, there's a chance that they would be okay if I planted them straight out. Courgettes are an exception. These will need a good month in the greenhouse probably before they can go out. End of April, kind of early May. And I don't want too many of these. I don't like getting rid of plants, and if there are too many of these I will plant them in the ground and I will be absolutely drowning in courgettes. I don't like courgette that much. I want 2 plants of these maximum. So I'm going to put out 4 pots and hopefully they'll germinate and I can give some away or something like that. 1 seed per pot. That's cucumber, nearly. Courgette. These like it warm. 4 courgette plants, hopefully, no more. These are the 2 that I've been unsuccessful with trying to germinate so far. So I'm going to double check their requirements, try and start these again in the same modules. And this is an interesting one, the black cherry tomato. I knew I had this when I did my last video, but I couldn't find it. I don't actually have that much space, so I'm just going to put 3 pots for the black cherry tomato. Tomatoes take up a huge amount of room when they're fully grown, and they'll probably have to stay in this greenhouse. There's only so much space I can give over to them. The tomatoes are going to like it warm as well, so if you've got crops that like it warm, the chilies, the tomatoes, the peppers, then I suggest using the black pots. They heat up quicker, warm up your soil. So with these ones I'm just going to go for 3 or 4 seeds in each pot. And I'm not going to do any pricking out for this. It's just going to be a case of the strongest one will survive. So these are my failures. This is the spinach. The Andean superfood salad leaves, going to fill these. I'm going to try some strawberries in these ones. I'm going to just top these up, put some in here. Just 4 spinach seeds going back in here. Hopefully they'll do better than last time. Okay, so we have the Andean superfood salad leaves done, re-sown, new compost. They've been given a second chance. Now for the strawberries. I'm hoping to get maybe 2 plants out of each of these modules. That'd be really nice. I'm thinking about making a strawberry bed. It would be nice to have some more standard varieties as well. Have a mixture with the Alpine, because I'm not certain that I like the Alpine or how far they'll go. So tamping the soil down and then making a little divot for the strawberries. Strawberry seeds honestly are a massive pain to work with. They're so small. Just covering up very lightly with these. My god, that wind! So for the last one, I'm just going to redo this spearmint row. I don't need much of this, and it's going to stay in pots. But I'm going to give it another try. I've replaced the compost once again with the new mixture, and these are the ones that need light. So I'm just going to get a light scattering of these and pop them on top. These are so thin they're almost invisible. You can barely see them. So that's about it in the greenhouse. I've had an absolutely wonderful morning in here. This is like my new favourite place to be. We've pricked out a load of seedlings, we've given them a new chance, we've replanted some of the ones that weren't doing so well. The seedlings didn't go great, they didn't have a great start, but this is why you start early in the year. It gives you a chance to rectify these mistakes if anything does go wrong. It's always good to have a contingency plan. So yeah, there's not too much more I can do in here today, but there is one thing I can do outside, and that is plant out my onions. Those onion sets can go straight in the ground. So yeah, come and join me for that.
So the onions are going in this bed, which is one of the shadier ones. The bay tree that you saw at the start of this video is huge and it casts a massive shadow. So I'm just starting by breaking up the soil here with a rake. Onion sets are really hardy, so you might not need to break up your soil. It really depends on its composition. Time for a quick bit of weeding. This patch was covered over earlier, so not too many weeds. A lot of people will say they can go a whole season without watering their onions or potatoes, but starting the sets off with a bit of water should help encourage them to set root and really begin their growing. Then I'm just marking out the lines with bamboo stakes and some line I found in the shed. And I've planted these slightly closer than you're meant to. They're about 10 centimeters apart as opposed to 12, but they really had to go this close to fit in the bed. But the important thing is I'll still be able to fit a hoe down the rows, and that'll really help with the weeding. And with the soil nice and moist, they're nice and easy to just push into the damp soil, leaving just the tips exposed. You might wish to net these to stop curious birds coming and picking them out of the soil, but I decided to chance it. And hopefully, come August, the top should start falling over, yellowing, and they will be ready to harvest. So, with the onions in, I've very happily retreated back into the sanctuary of the greenhouse. I was absolutely boiling earlier down to a t-shirt, but my god, it's freezing outside. So I think that's me done for the day. I can go home, have some lunch. I'm gonna sit in the greenhouse, finish my coffee. But yeah, what a wonderful way to spend a Sunday. I'm so glad that we've got the allotment during this lockdown. I feel absolutely privileged to have it. It's a real pleasure being able to get out the house and actually get some fresh air and some sunshine. It's just wonderful. It really is. I'm counting my blessings today. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for coming with me on this journey. Stay tuned to see how it all goes. I mean, it might all go wrong. I could come down tomorrow and the greenhouse is blown over and the birds have pecked out all the onions and all the seedlings have died. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. I'm really pleased with how it's gone so far. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks again for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again next time.